Hey, it's Gus here, and today I'm gonna be inking this cowboy and talking about skill, passion, and talent in art. Let's go! Okay, so first off, we're simply going to define what I mean by these terms one by one, because we really need to know what we're talking about if we want to discuss these three concepts that are actually decently complex. But before we start, I just want to start by saying if you could let your thoughts in the comments below about this format of videos, sort of just draw, chill, and talk. It would be very much appreciated because I'm experimenting with some different formats for my videos, and I think this one is really fitting to just talk about the stuff we need to talk about to improve here as a community, and I'd like to know your thoughts about it. Thanks! Okay, so first off, talent. It's a bit of a controversial one, but it's basically an innate ability to perform above average in something. Let's just set it straight from the beginning without wasting any time. Talent does exist and may have an impact on you, but it gets less relevant as time goes by. Plus, I think in the modern day and age, it's kind of outdated. Let me explain. So talent, like we just said, is being naturally good at something from birth. Basically starting ahead of people, having a head start. We all have some kind of talent in something, so bro, okay, don't start beating yourself up like, oh bro, I don't have any talents. Bro, you have some, just look for them. So yeah, you really need to not use talent as an excuse, because it would just result in you being sad, and that's not what I want here. Let's talk about it in an objective way and not being like, oh bro, I don't have any talents. No, that's not what I want. What that means is that you may get a good start, but you don't necessarily stay that far ahead of the competition. That's what I mean when I say that talent gets less relevant as time goes by. It's basically like running a marathon. Being 100 meters ahead of the rest might be a pretty insane advantage at first, and probably will seem unbeatable for a while for the other people, but on the scale of 42 point something kilometers, it really isn't that significant. A very well-known example of this is Van Gogh. He's one of my favorite painters of all time, and at first, he was not even an artist. I think he started as like an art dealer, and then he got into like religious stuff. I think it was a Protestant, I don't really know. Yeah, whatever, but when he first picked up a brush, he wasn't very good compared to the other people. But his lack of innate talent mattered less and less as time went by, and he was able to create his own insane masterpieces that inspired entire generations of artists after him. That's kind of the risk with talent. If you're very talented and take stuff for granted, you might peak early and slowly fall down. So just don't take things for granted and get complacent because you are instantly good at something. It's, kind of like that kid from school that was very, very good at drawing at like age 10, who was able to do insane stuff, but then he never really kept improving on that, and I think it's kind of sad. But so, let's face the big thing I said at the beginning. Why is talent outdated? Well, because in this day and age, it's actually decently easy to catch up. As with the find, you can catch up to talented people, and how do you catch up? By building up your skill, what we're gonna talk about in a second, through education. And education and educative materials and mediums have never in the history of humanity been that easy to get. So right now, you're just like sitting on your chair like a dumbass, you're watching a YouTube video, and you could find hundreds of quality tutorials on pretty much whatever you want in seconds. Books have never been that affordable, people make incredible online courses, you can find masterpieces to study them everywhere. Basically, you can get the educative material to catch up with the people that are ahead of you by building up your skill. So, skill is an above-average ability to perform a task that is gained and built up through education and practice. It's what you're trying to level up by watching videos like this, even though you would probably be better off getting some practice in the books. Like I just said, skill is built up and goes up when you work on it. It's basically the same thing as a physical ability. The art skills are your muscles and you need to work on them, all to function properly. There are actually not just one art skill, it's like a multiple micro skills that you need to work on and be able to activate in coordination with one another to do cool stuff, just like your muscles. There's some, just like muscles, that are must-have, like you must have some muscle to perform basic things, like you need a heart to fucking survive, and I don't remember the name of the muscle, like the English name of the muscle that activates your lungs. I don't care, this one. You need these guys to survive, so it's like the basics you need for everything, and there are also some smaller guys you need for a specific task, just like an art. And just like your muscles, your art skills, I think that you really do have complete control over them. You can improve them. And I think it's very important to remind you that, because with how easy, like how overwhelmingly easy it is to beat yourself up on your artistic level. Like, okay, for example, how many times have you, just today, okay, just this day, how many times have you opened up like a social media app, seen a cool ass art post and thought to yourself, I am nowhere close to that level? Answer honestly. And this is why I feel like it's very important to remind you that you have a lot more power and influence over yourself than you might think, because of all this, easy comparison and beating yourself up and shit. However, of course, that does not mean that it's going to be easy. Obviously, it's just controllable by experimenting and finding what are the right things to do. It's not easy, it's more than possible, however. So what are those right things to do, you might ask? Well, I'll talk more about them in future videos. This one is more about explaining the concepts before actually getting into the more practical stuff. Well, I'm gonna give you one more here. Okay, we established that skill is a complex body made up of micro skills, right? Well, you first need to identify which micro skills you need to improve to reach your goals, and then focus on your practice on these micro skills plus the basics. Basically, when you go to practice, just cut the bullshit and get straight to the point. You need to put some practice in your basics. Like, why the fuck would you do a value study if you have no clue how to represent an object in space? That doesn't make sense. Work on your basics and the micro skills you need to reach your goals. You really need to establish them clearly and then have some sort of a routine. Like every day have a time blocked out. Okay, I'm gonna practice this micro skill. Like I'm gonna practice, I don't know, perspective drawing, or I'm gonna practice cross hatching, something like that. Basically, when you go to practice, in order to cut the bullshit, avoid useless stuff okay, let's just be honest, we do a lot of useless stuff, but in order to just cut through the bullshit and get to the point, ask to yourself when you sit down to practice, what would I do if I only had 30 minutes a week to practice? The answer to that question is what you should do right now and focus most of your efforts on. This really allows you to stop procrastinating, oh, okay, I have a lot of time, I'm just gonna draw some... No. You have 30 minutes a week to practice, what will you do? That's what you do. Because it just allows you to figure out what is the essential stuff, and it is the thing you need to work on. Great artists don't have a quadrillion micro skills, they have a really well-defined set of micro skills that are developed to an insane level. I'll be giving more tips on practice in later videos. I think that the art community online really needs that, and I think I have sort of the ability to contribute to that because so many people just struggle and don't know what to do to discipline themselves and actually get a good routine and all that shit. And I want to contribute to that because I think I have the ability to do it. But first, let's just talk about the last concept of today's video, passion. So passion is a bit of an odd one. It's way more abstract. Let's just start. The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a very strong feeling of love, hatred, anger, enthusiasm, etc. So what I and most people mean by it is something close to purpose. It's indeed a very strong feeling, but it's not as temporary and changing as a feeling. It's what you aspire to do. The thing you feel makes the most amount of sense to you personally. It's your mission. In a more philosophical sense, it's what you were born to do. The way I explain how passion influences you is by comparing it to a candle. Okay, let me explain first, before calling me an idiot, even though you probably would be right. So when it is burning hot and pure, the wax will melt and just flow out of the candle. So when you're really passionate and prepare yourself to be, your work will flow out of you naturally. Once again, not easily, of course, it will get hard at times, but if you spend time for yourself, you will naturally feel the will and the need to put work on your passion. You probably do relate to that to a certain extent. Of course, this requires actually finding your passion, which links to personal identity quests, and I really don't have time to get into this today, even though it is a very important and interesting topic. I'm gonna save it for another day. But the underlying concept is that if you find your passion and dedicate yourself to it, you will level up considerably and catch up to the people that might have a bit more talent than you. That's really what I give off with this video by defining these 3 terms. Just give you some hope and help you cut through the bullshit. Stop with excuses like, oh, he's just more talented than me, I cannot do it. Oh, I'm just talented, I don't need to work on it. No. What I want to do is just help you to cut through the bullshit and actually become a better person, become a better artist. And I think I have the ability to contribute to that. And if I helped even one person with this video, it's enough for me. I think it did its purpose. Because, okay, let's be honest, I have like, 17 subscribers at the time I'm recording this? So if right now, just me, an 18-year-old dumbass, can help one person, within a couple years of working, maybe I'll be able to help 100 persons, 1,000 persons maybe. And I think it's what I want to do. I really think it is a beautiful thing that I might be able to contribute to some level to some other people's, art journey. And if I have the ability to do it, I just want to try, put the stuff in front of people and see what happens, So if I helped you, let me know in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate it, and welcome aboard in the community I'm trying to build. Okay guys, so there's the finished result of the piece I just inked today. I think it's actually kind of cool. I like the suggestive feel of it, and as a conclusion to what we were just talking about, we all have a mix of all 3: passion, talent, and obviously skill we're trying to develop. That's what I'm doing here in this channel with the community that's slowly but surely growing. We all improve our skill alongside each other because it's something we have complete control over. And I think it's what we should be working on. Now, okay, obviously, this is like bro science, right? It's my take on the thing, which actually I think it's what makes this video important. It's what makes it even worth existing, basically, because it's my take on it. It's how I explain it, and that means that nobody else is able to explain it just like this. That's why I'm just gonna put it out there and hope it helped at least a couple people. If you're new here, I really appreciate you watching until the end. Welcome aboard. And I hope you had a good time watching my video and have a pleasant rest of your day. Peace.